Let's talk about childhood cancer. Sometime in November 2020, PZ Cousins launched a campaign, Because We Care campaign, under one of their products, which is Camel antiseptic. And this was supposed to generate some funds to support the Kolebu Pediatric Oncology Unit. And so it was supposed to pay for diagnosis, treatment, and also of the disease, and also to give the unit a facelift. And then sometime in February, I noticed that they had made a donation of a certain amount to this unit. Well, that was supposed to mark the first phase of the Because We Care campaign. And now they're back to tell us more about the next phase of this campaign. Joining us in the studio, she's back, Marianne Boateng. She is the Category Marketing Manager for Personal Care at PZ Cousins. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you in the studios.
Good to be
How are
here.
you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm smiling through my mask, but you can see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. We're used to it now, so sometimes we can tell from the eyes. Also joining us in the studio is Dr. Ernestina Shandov. She's the Pediatric Oncology Fellow Trainee at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing?
Thank you.
I see you all have your cancer bows on there. I'll start off with you, Marianne, because I remember we had this conversation some months ago where you told me about this campaign. And I'm glad to know that it went really well. So tell me about the first phase.
So the first phase was very successful, which is why we are here today again. So we were able to raise 250,000 Ghana cedis in support of treatment and diagnosis, as well as a facelift for Kolebu Oncology Unit. So it was quite successful. We've been able to touch a few lives with the initiative, and that's why we're here today, to continue the good works that we are doing.
How were you able to raise this funds? And if you can tell me a bit about that concerning the first phase of the campaign.
So we pledged to donate a certain amount for every bottle of Camel antiseptic purchased during that period.
Okay.
So we put aside that amount, and that's what we put into the fund and donated finally to Kolebu Oncology Unit.
It must have meant a lot to the parents, of the children who were in that unit, and also the doctors and the nurses in that unit.
Yes, so apart from even just raising the funds, there was more of the advocacy as well as the awareness that we raised for that initiative that was very impactful as well. So we have a lot of children that have been impacted by the funds that we raised for this initiative.
I'm happy. Doc, let me bring you in, because the statistics are not very encouraging. It says what? About 1,200 children are diagnosed with childhood cancer in Ghana, and only about 300 to 400 of them recover from it. That's very worrying. Has it changed?
Yeah, so that's very true, and the awareness is still ongoing.
Okay.
From last year to this year, the numbers have slightly increased.
Okay.
Mainly due to awareness. A lot of them still, however, come very late.
When you say awareness has increased, which one? Because we want
awareness
to know.
about the signs and symptoms of cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, so now people.
So we're recording lesser cases, or more?
We are recording more cases.
Okay.
So this year we actually recorded slightly more cases, even though last year, because of COVID, the numbers were down. This year the numbers are picking up again.
How many more cases?
So we used to have like 160, 180. This year we've had about almost close to 200. So gradually it's getting better. But unlike in developed countries where 4 out of 5 children survive and live their normal lives, the story is not the same here. We have just maybe 1 out of 5 children surviving. And childhood cancer is curable.
Okay.
But because of factors like financial factors, late presentation, we are not able to catch them early and treat them.
Tell me more about late presentation, because you're saying that for a lot of parents, because of the advocacy, they've been able to identify the symptoms early enough. For those who are watching who may not have any idea, what are the signs?
So the signs and symptoms of cancer are usually very subtle, and they resemble other diseases. Okay, so we have an acronym to help most people to identify them. So we call it the SILUAN, S-I-L-U-A-N. Okay.
S-I-L-U-A-N, SILUAN, okay.
SILUAN. So the S stands for symptoms have to be reported as soon as possible once you see them. Then the I stands for eye signs. Sometimes just the whitish spots in the eye, or when you take a picture and you see a red reflex, then you know that there's something wrong. And very late test stages, you see the eye protruding, the eye getting red or having a discharge. And then L, any lumps or swellings. It can be in any part of the body, the head, the neck, the tummy, the limbs, any swelling. It does not have to be painful. Most of the time, cancer may not be painful in the initial stages, but it gets painful when it gets later. And then the U, unexplained symptoms. The child is eating well but having unexplained weight loss, or child having unexplained temperature or night sweats. You should report that as soon as possible. And then A, when you have any aches and pains. Children don't usually have joint pains like elderly people. So once you have aches and pains or minor falls causing fractures, you need to report them as soon as possible. And N, the neurological symptoms. Sometimes it can be as simple as a change in handwriting, or headaches, persistent headaches, vomiting, or changing the way the child walks or talks. Then you know that you have to come to the hospital as soon as possible.
When you talked about aches and pains, I remember that for a number of parents, when their children complain of headache or, you know, they feel a little feverish, the first thing they do is go to the pharmacy and purchase some drugs for them. Is that wrong?
So once maybe the child complains of aches and pains, you should be more critical about the symptom.
Okay.
Children don't complain just at random. Children like to play. So if your child is not playing, is complaining of pain, and you're given maybe pain relief like paracetamol and it's not going, you shouldn't sit in the house.
Marianne, what have you learned
help.
so far, I mean, as a team, about cancer and in your quest to help support these children who find themselves in the unit?
So when we started this project, so this initiative, we had a lot of expectations, but it was also a learning curve for us. So one of the things that we noticed was that the awareness was really low. So a lot of people did not even know that this was a problem in Ghana. And especially during the pandemic, where many people were focusing on COVID, this was killing our children. Through, as Dr. Shandov said, early detection was an issue because people were treating cancer symptoms for malaria.
Yeah.
So they go into the pharmacy for things that were cancer symptoms. So we realized that a lot of it was not just about giving the money, because you can't treat something that you haven't diagnosed.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was very, very, very apparent when we started the campaign was awareness. So in this year's campaign, a lot of it is advocacy, as well as awareness. And then we also are partnering. We are partnering with yourself, TV3.
Yeah.
We're also partnering with Ghana Medical Association to have some medical outreaches, especially in areas where it's prevalent. So in the Volta region, in the northern region. We are having these campaigns to educate people and to encourage people so that we can easily detect and test at that very initial stage of the symptoms.
Okay.
With that in place, we believe that then we can get more people, more children coming in, more diagnosis done, and then treatment, because you can't treat something that you haven't diagnosed in the first place.
Are the dynamics the same? Because in the first phase, you have to buy Camel antiseptic, and then some amount from that purchase is donated. Is it the same or is it different?
It's the same.
Okay.
So this time around, what's different is, well, what's the same is we are still committing to donate for every purchase of Camel antiseptic. We'll commit to donate 10 pesos of each purchase to the initiative. Last year, what we did was we restricted it to Kolebu oncology units. But this year, we had a lot of people coming in, people telling us that we are in the north, we need access to this. We are in Konfuanochi, we need access to this.
Yeah.
So all we've done is we've opened it up so that everybody can access these funds, and it's not restricted to one location only.
I see.
Which is where the medical outreaches also come in and help with the diagnosis. So once it's been diagnosed, or once you even have these symptoms and you need help in terms of assistance to pay, we have a website now that you can access. So it's www.carex.com.gh/becausewecare. Once you access the website, you can apply directly for funding. You can also apply through referrals, through your doctors or your any caregiver can apply, because they are children, they can apply on their own.
Yeah.
So once you have access to the website, you can apply. Someone can also apply on your behalf or through referrals from the doctors. And we'll give the funding on a monthly basis. So there's a vetting committee, including doctors, including the Ghana Medical Association, as well as this year we're also partnering with the Lions Club of Ghana. So they will be on there. They are great advocates for childhood cancer as well. So they'll be on these vetting committees, and then they will be given the funds directly to the needy children.
What about those who do not want to wait to buy a bottle of Camel antiseptic before, you know, a donation is made? If they want to make a larger donation, who do they get in touch with? So
that's why we are in partnership with Dr. Shandop and her team. So we are in partnership with Kolebu. We are also in partnership directly with Konfuanoche as well as the Lions Club. So they can make direct contributions to these organizations. So it's not just us. That's why the advocacy is important. We are raising funds, but there are so many people who need help.
Yeah.
Ours will probably be just a drop in the ocean, but the bigger picture may be someone who wants to donate more than you are saying, for instance. That person can actually donate directly to Kolebu or to Konfuanoche to help the children. We also have access to these patients as well, because they are applying. They can donate directly to them as well. Okay,
Dr. Shandov, so Marianne mentioned something that in the Volta region is where we have more prevalent childhood cancer cases, and also another region that you mentioned.
In the north and in the Volta region.
Are there any particular reasons why it's more prevalent in those regions?
So there are various factors that we are still considering. The cause of cancer is not very well established, but there are certain predisposing factors that can lead to cancer. Some exposures to pesticides, some diseases like hepatitis, HIV can predispose to cancer. We've noticed that in the north and in the Volta region, the cases are more, could be due to exposures, because in the north there are a lot of farming activities, so a lot of use of pesticides, and also there are very few hospitals in those areas, so possibly that they may not present as early as someone who lives in the greater Accra region, where there is a bigger hospital that treats cancer, or in the central part of the country where Konfuanoche is there to treat. So access to healthcare may be a factor, and then exposures and certain myths as well.
Oh, there are myths about it?
Yes, so some people believe that childhood cancer is not real and it's something that is spiritual or a curse in the family. But childhood cancer happens to anybody, anywhere, whether you're in US, UK, Ghana, China, anywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or you're poor. It can affect any child.
Quickly, what's the treatment process like for children who are suffering from cancer?
So in treating the cancer, we have different types of cancers. It can affect any part of the body, from your brain to the soles of your feet. So usually you need to know what type of cancer it is and how far it has spread. So the initial investigations alone could cost like 3,000 to 5,000 Ghana cedis, because you need to do investigation, blood tests, you need to do scans to make sure that you stage the cancer properly, so that you can treat her properly. And the treatment of cancer, we have different modalities depending on how early you've seen it and how far it has spread, and the type. So some we treat with just medications, we call chemotherapy. Some are injected in the veins, some they take orally. We also have surgery as another option to remove the tumor before.
I see. Let me just come to Marianne quickly before we go, because we've been talking about buying Camel antiseptic, but we don't know the price and where we can find them.
So Camel antiseptic can be found, it's the biggest antiseptic brand, so it can be found all over, in supermarkets, in your neighborhood shop, everywhere, in the open markets, on tabletops. You can find Camel antiseptic to buy, and it's costs as little as 7 cedis for a small bottle, to a family size, which is about 37 cedis. So we cater for basically all pockets. So in buying this, you're not just protecting yourself, because Camel antiseptic is an antiseptic liquid that helps you protect yourself, especially in these pandemic times, but you're also saving a life, and that's what's important.
Absolutely. You're definitely saving a life. So thank you so much. And 3 Foundation is partnering PZ Cousins for the Because We Care campaign, where you purchase a bottle of Camel antiseptic, and you said what, about 10 pesos?
10 pesos.
Is donated, towards the diagnosis and treatment of childhood cancer in the country. And quick one last time. So the website for people to be able to access funds?
It's www.carex.com.gh/becausewecare.
Okay. So get in touch. Is there any number they can reach, by the way, if they can't get through to the website?
So you can get to us through 020-222-5582.
020?
020-222-5582.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, carry on.
You can also visit us on our social media pages. It's Camel now from Kerex. And we have all the information in terms of accessing it, in terms of contribution, in terms of the early warning signs and advocacy and awareness also that can be shared.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mary Ann Boateng is the Category Marketing Manager for Personal Care at PZ Cussons. And also Dr. Ernestina Shandorf is a Pediatric Oncology Fellow Trainee at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. I'm grateful and keep up the good work.